Before Emily came into his life, Wayne had been married twice. However, both of his previous marriages broke up within a year as women found better options and left him. Although Wayne was handsome and intelligent, he was not unusually successful in life. He worked in a factory and earned a modest salary. Wayne followed the same path as his parents, who also worked in a factory until their retirement. It was at the clinic that Wayne met Emily and immediately fell in love with her. Emily, a frail and short blonde, worked as a nurse at the hospital. She joined the hospital shortly after graduating from college. Wayne pursued Emily passionately and persistently, but she didn't pay attention to him at first. In fact, she looked down on him. However, her mother advised her not to miss the opportunity and accept what she was given. After much deliberation, Emily reluctantly agreed to go on a date with Wayne. As time passed, she finally accepted his marriage proposal. Emily invited her friends who were already married and had families, but she felt like a stranger among them. The years of their marriage flew by, but when Emily went on maternity leave for the first time, she began to feel the financial strain. Wayne's income remained flat while expenses continued to rise. Wayne was unwilling to change jobs, which left Emily perplexed and frustrated. The situation caused tension in their already fragile relationship. The second pregnancy was unexpected and unplanned. Emily was caught off guard, and during the first week, she cried every day. To cope, she took a job at a private clinic through an acquaintance to provide for her growing family. She didn't want to risk losing her new job, but there was another reason that made Lena increasingly anxious. Her baby was not Wayne's, but was the result of an affair with one of the clinic's doctors. She knew the doctor was happily married and had no intention of leaving his wife, and she feared she would be fired if she tried to establish paternity. The thought that she could get a divorce and be left alone to support 2 children made her feel scared and vulnerable. She made the decision to keep her situation a secret from everyone until the last moment. At home, her spouse noticed the change in her behavior. Lena brushed off his concern, attributing her fatigue to her workload. Loving husband Steve believed her explanation and did not question further. Leading the double life of an unfaithful wife both amused and satisfied her. Her lover provided her with financial support, which she used as she saw fit. They met almost daily in his office for their affairs, while her faithful husband waited for her at home, unaware of her infidelity. As time went on, her belly began to show signs of pregnancy, but she was hesitant to share the news with anyone. One day after an intimate encounter, her lover broached the subject. Standing in front of her, buttoning her shirt, with her hair disheveled and a slight blush on her cheeks, she was torn between conflicting feelings of admiration for him and concern for her pregnancy. The man watched her with a slight mocking smirk, as if he knew everything and was just waiting for Emily to speak. She lowered her eyes and remained silent. The doctor inquired, "Pose?" and she shrugged. The man continued to explain his position, claiming that even if the child turned out to be his, it made no difference to him. He refused to acknowledge paternity, but assured her that he would not abandon her as his mistress. Later that evening, Emily confessed her pregnancy to her husband. Her husband was overjoyed, disregarding his wife's implausible explanation that she had not immediately learned of the pregnancy. Emily anxiously awaited the birth, knowing full well that the chances of the child being her husband's were slim. Their marriage had long since broken up, and intimate encounters had been reduced to almost nothing. She watched Wayne happily pack up the crib and share the news with her oldest son, who would soon have a baby brother or sister. Fear gripped her heart as she imagined her husband's reaction when he learned the truth. Despite her growing belly, her lover continued to keep in touch with her. Colleagues whispered and gossiped about her visits to the neurologist's office. During one such meeting, he carelessly tossed money on the table and said, "As soon as you give birth, you'll need a paternity test. Call me, I'll take care of it." Unlike her husband, this man was often talkative, a trait Emily found attractive. He was the complete opposite of her spouse, even in appearance. She did not want to lose her relationship with her lover. She was deeply in love with him. It had been 2 months since she had last seen him since she had gone on maternity leave. He hadn't written or called her, which wasn't surprising. He had his own family, his own children, and had little interest in a mistress who might be carrying his child. It was very unpleasant. Now she was back in the full custody of her spouse. Money was scarce, and she despised Steve, who seemed to smile wider and wider at her every day. Sometimes she wanted to run away from her family and never see any of them again. When she walked into the birthing center in the midst of labor, she told the doctor ahead of time that the baby would need a DNA test. The doctor noticed the wedding ring on Emily's finger, but remained silent as the situation was clear as day. Later, when the newborn baby girl was placed on her chest, Lena saw the obvious resemblance to her lover and couldn't hold back tears. The tests and fears were eventually confirmed. The husband at first was beyond happy and thanked his wife in the delivery room for their daughter. Surviving the shame and fear, Emily was looking forward to the moment when her husband himself would find out the truth. When the man first held his daughter in his arms in the delivery room, he caught a glimpse of her skin color, but didn't pay much attention to it. After all, babies come in many different colors. However, when he took off the baby's blanket and bonnet at home, he noticed dark, bushy eyebrows and hair. A chill ran down his spine, and in the reflection of the mirror he saw Emily, tears streaming down her face. He didn't need to ask any questions because his wife willingly shared all the information with him. Wayne was furious and couldn't understand how she could have deceived him for so long and slept with someone else. The anger completely consumed him. He left the house that day and didn't return until the following evening. Without a word to Emily, he placed the divorce papers on the table. The pain he felt overshadowed all other emotions. He loved this woman deeply, and she had betrayed him despite everything he had done for her and their family. Wayne had made it a condition that their oldest son would stay with him. Emily was too exhausted to fight for custody and realized she could not raise both children alone. Although a paternity test confirmed that the lover was the father, he refused to take responsibility for the child as he had previously claimed. From time to time, he transferred insufficient amounts of money to Emily's account to help with expenses. As a result, Emily had no choice but to return to her mother's home. Her mother was disappointed with the situation, but did not give up on her daughter. In pursuit of conditional happiness, similar to that of her friends, Emily ruined not only her life, but also the lives of those close to her.